Imagine a world where everyone wears a mask, not just to hide their true intentions, but to shape the perceptions of those around them. You're in a room, negotiating a deal, charming a crowd, or even just talking to a friend. How do you know? Who's playing you? More importantly, how do you bend the game to your will without becoming someone else's pawn? Niccolo Machiavelli, the 16th century master of power's raw mechanics, didn't just write a book. He forged a lens to see through the fog of human deceit. His philosophy, especially in The Prince, isn't about being a villain. It's about understanding the rules of influence so you can manipulate without being manipulated. This isn't about cheap tricks or petty mind games. It's about seeing the world as it is, not as you wish it to be, and mastering the art of control in a reality where trust is a luxury and power is the currency. Today, you're going to learn how Machiavelli's brutal wisdom can arm you to shape outcomes, protect your interests, and outsmart those who think they've got you figured out. Let's start with the core of Machiavelli's insight. People are driven by self-interest, always. He wrote, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a prince who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." That's not cynicism. It's observation. In any interaction, whether it's a boardroom, a first date, or a political campaign, people are calculating what's in it for them. They might dress it up with smiles or noble words, but beneath the surface, their actions bend toward gain, survival, or status. To manipulate. Without being manipulated, you must first accept this truth. Everyone is playing an angle. The colleague who flatters you. They might want your support for a promotion. The friend who always asks for favors. They're banking on your goodwill to outweigh your suspicion. The politician promising change. Their real goal might just be votes, not progress. If you don't see this, you're already a mark. Now let's be clear. Machiavelli didn't advocate for mindless cruelty or betrayal. He was a realist, not a cartoonish schemer. His advice was for those who want to hold power, not just chase it. To manipulate effectively, you need to control the frame of every interaction. This starts with perception. Machiavelli said a prince must appear virtuous, merciful, faithful, humane, but be ready to act otherwise when necessary. In today's world, this means crafting a public self that aligns with what others want to see. Imagine you're pitching a startup idea to investors. You don't just present numbers. You tell a story that makes them feel they're backing a winner. You emphasize your passion, your vision, your reliability. But behind that polished exterior, you're calculating, what do these investors fear losing? What do they crave? Status? Profit? Security? You tailor your words to hit those pressure points, making them want to say yes. That's manipulation. Not lying, but strategically shaping their perception to align with your goal. Here's a scenario to make this real. Picture a young manager, Sarah, vying for a promotion in a cutthroat corporate environment. Her rival, Tom, is charming, always quick with a joke, and loved by the team. But Sarah notices something. Tom's charm is a performance. He flatters the boss, takes credit for others' work, and subtly undermines colleagues in private conversations. He's manipulating the room, and no one sees it. Sarah could confront him, but that's a losing move. It makes her look petty and weak. Instead, she takes a page from Machiavelli. She studies Tom's tactics, not to copy his dishonesty, but to understand his playbook. She starts building her own image. She's reliable, sharp, and indispensable. She doesn't just do her job, she makes sure her contributions are visible, framing every success as a team win that subtly highlights her leadership. When the boss is deciding on the promotion, Sarah's name feels like the obvious choice, not because she played dirty, but because she shaped the narrative. That's the first step to manipulating without being manipulated. Control how others see you before they control how you're seen. But here's where it gets tricky. While you're shaping perceptions, others are doing the same to you. Machiavelli warned that men are quick to deceive when it suits them, and if you're not vigilant, you'll fall for their game. Let's go deeper into human psychology. People manipulate because they know you have blind spots, emotions like trust, fear, or pride that cloud your judgment. Ever wonder why flattery works so well? It's because it strokes your ego, and your ego is a greedy little beast. When someone praises you, your brain releases a hit of dopamine, and suddenly you're less likely to question their motives. This is why Machiavelli stressed the need for a clear mind. You can't afford to be swayed by feelings when someone's trying to pull your strings. Think about a time you agreed to something because you felt obligated or charmed. Maybe a coworker asked for just a small favor, and before you knew it, you were doing half their job. That's manipulation exploiting your desire to be seen as helpful. To counter this, you need to master what I'll call the cold eye. This is the ability to step back and analyze every interaction, as if you're a scientist studying a specimen. Let's say you're negotiating a contract with a client who's all smiles, promising a long-term partnership. They're painting a rosy picture, but your cold eye notices red flags. They're vague about deadlines. Their budget seems flexible only when it benefits them, and they keep mentioning how lucky you are to work with them. Instead of getting swept up in their enthusiasm, you ask pointed questions. What's the exact timeline? What's the payment schedule? You don't accuse them of deceit, that's too confrontational, but you probe to expose their intentions. If they squirm, you've caught them. If they clarify, you've gained clarity. Either way, you've protected yourself from being played. Let's take this to another level with a modern example. Imagine you're a freelancer, Alex, working with a big client who's notorious for delaying payments. They send you an email full of praise for your latest project, promising more work if you can just do one more quick task up front. The flattery feels good, and the promise of future gigs is tempting. But your cold eye kicks in. You notice they haven't mentioned payment for the last job, and their quick task smells like a way to squeeze free work out of you. Drawing from Machiavelli, you don't call them out directly. That risks burning the bridge. Instead, you respond strategically. I'm thrilled you loved the project. I can start the new task as soon as we settle the outstanding invoice. It'll keep the momentum going. You've flipped the frame, making it seem like you're eager to please while forcing them to address the payment issue. This is manipulation. With a purpose, you're steering the interaction to protect your interests without exposing your hand. Now, let's talk about the tools of manipulation itself. Machiavelli didn't just observe human nature, he broke down how to use it. One of his sharpest insights is that people are swayed more by appearances than reality. He wrote, "The vulgar crowd is always taken by appearances, and the world consists chiefly of the vulgar." In today's terms, this means most people don't dig deep. They judge based on what's in front of them. Want to influence someone? Control the signals they see. This could be as simple as dressing the part. Think of a startup founder who wears a tailored suit to a pitch, not because they love suits, but because it screams, "I'm serious." Or it could be more complex, like curating your social media to project confidence and success, even when you're struggling. The goal isn't to lie, it's to shape the story others tell themselves about you. But here's the flip side. If you're too focused on projecting your own image, you might miss the signals others are sending. This is where many get manipulated. Let's say you're at a networking event and someone approaches you with a dazzling pitch about a game-changing opportunity. They're charismatic, their words are polished, and they name-drop big players to impress you. Your instinct is to trust them. After all, they seem legit. But Machiavelli would urge you to pause. Charisma is a tool, not a truth. Look for what's not being said. Are they dodging specifics? Are their promises too good to be true? A manipulator's greatest weapon is your assumption that they're sincere. To avoid being played, train yourself to question charm and seek evidence. Ask for details, cross-check their claims, and watch their reaction. A genuine person will respect your diligence. A manipulator will falter. Let's explore this further with a scenario. Imagine you're a small business owner, Maya, looking to partner with a supplier. The supplier's rep, David, is a smooth talker. He promises top quality materials at a steep discount, claiming it's a special deal just for you. Your ego loves the idea of being special, but your Machiavellian instincts kick in. You ask for samples, references, and a contract with clear terms. David hesitates, pivoting to more vague promises about building trust first. That's your cue. A true partner doesn't shy away from transparency. You politely push back, saying you're excited but need specifics to move forward. If David's legit, he'll comply. If he's manipulating, he'll back off or double down on charm, exposing himself. By staying calm and analytical, you've turned the tables. You're now the one steering the interaction. This brings us to another Machiavellian gem. Timing is everything. He wrote that a prince must know when to act like a lion, bold and forceful, and when to act like a fox, cunning and subtle. Manipulation isn't about always being aggressive or always being sneaky. It's about choosing the right approach for the moment. Let's say you're in a salary negotiation. You've done your research and know your worth, but your boss is notorious for lowballing. If you come in too strong, demanding a raise outright, you might seem desperate or entitled. Instead, you play the fox. You build your case over weeks, highlighting your successes, dropping subtle hints about other job offers, and making yourself indispensable. When the negotiation finally happens, you're not begging. You're presenting a reality where paying you more is in their interest. That's manipulation done right. They think they're making the choice, but you've shaped the battlefield. But what happens when someone tries to manipulate you with the same finesse? This is where Machiavelli's realism becomes your shield. He warned that people will use fear, flattery, or obligation to control you. The key to not being manipulated is to recognize these levers. Fear might come in the form of a boss hinting at layoffs if you don't step up. Flattery could be a colleague praising you to rope you into their project. Obligation might be a friend guilt-tripping you into helping them move for the third time this year. Each tactic preys on your emotions, but you can counter them by staying detached. When you feel that emotional tug, pause and ask, what do they gain if I say yes? What do I lose? This simple question cuts through the noise and exposes their game. Let's ground this in another example. Picture a rising politician, Liam, trying to secure a major donor's support. The donor, Eleanor, is known for her influence, but also her knack for controlling people. She invites Liam to a lavish dinner, showering him with praise about his vision for the future. It feels good, but Liam's read The Prince. He knows flattery is a trap. Instead of basking in it, he keeps his cold eye on. He notices Elena's questions are probing. She's testing how much she can steer him. When she hints that her support comes with expectations, Liam doesn't react emotionally. He smiles, thanks her, and redirects the conversation to her goals, subtly signaling he's not easily swayed. By the end of the night, Eleanor respects him more because he didn't fall for her tactics. Liam's not just avoiding manipulation, he's manipulating the manipulator by showing strength without confrontation. Now, let's address a common myth about Machiavelli, that he was all about deceit and betrayal. That's too simplistic. He wasn't telling you to stab backs for fun. He was saying that power demands flexibility. Sometimes, you need to make promises you can't keep or feign loyalty to buy time. But he also stressed loyalty to your own goals. If you're manipulating others, it's not about ego or cruelty. It's about securing your position in a world where others won't hesitate to undermine you. The trick is to do this without losing yourself. Manipulation without principle becomes chaos. You end up as untrustworthy as the people you're trying to outsmart. Machiavelli's ideal prince was disciplined, not reckless. So, when you manipulate, whether it's charming a client, negotiating a deal, or building alliances, always know your endgame. Why are you doing this? What's the bigger picture? Without that clarity, you're just playing games, and someone sharper will outplay you. Let's bring this to a personal level. Imagine you're trying to build a side hustle while working a demanding job. Your co-workers are competitive, and your boss doesn't love employees with divided attention. You could keep your hustle a secret, but that risks suspicion. Instead, you take a Machiavellian approach. You make your boss feel like your side project benefits the company. Maybe you're learning skills that make you more valuable at work. You share just enough to seem transparent, but you don't reveal the full scope of your ambitions. Meanwhile, you're quietly building your network, securing clients, and laying the groundwork for independence. You're manipulating the perception of your loyalty while protecting your real goal. If your boss tries to guilt you into dropping the hustle, you don't argue, you nod, agree it's a lot, and subtly shift focus to your stellar work performance. You've dodged their control while keeping your path clear. This leads to a critical point. Manipulation isn't just about offense, it's about defense. Machiavelli knew that power isn't just gained, it's preserved. In today's world, you're constantly under siege. Social media, office politics, even family dynamics, everyone's trying to shape your choices. The colleague who just wants your input might be offloading their work. The influencer pushing a product might be banking on your trust in their brand. To avoid being manipulated, you need to build mental fortifications. This means questioning everything, not out of paranoia, but out of strategy. When someone makes a request, ask yourself, what's their angle? When they offer something, what's the catch? This doesn't mean you distrust everyone. It means you trust your own judgment first. Let's wrap this up with a final scenario. To tie it all together, imagine you're a consultant, Priya, hired to turn around a struggling company. The CEO is charismatic but slippery, promising you full support while quietly undermining your recommendations to protect his own image. You see his game. He wants your ideas to succeed, but needs the credit to stay in power. A naive consultant might fight him head-on, but you channel Machiavelli. You publicly praise the CEO's vision, framing your suggestions as building on his ideas. In meetings, you let him take the spotlight while ensuring your strategies are implemented. Behind the scenes, you document every decision, keeping a paper trail to protect yourself if he tries to throw you under the bus. You're manipulating his ego to get your work done, but you're also shielding yourself from his manipulation by staying one step ahead. The company improves, you get paid, and the CEO thinks it was his idea. That's the art of manipulating without being manipulated. So here's the truth. Machiavelli leaves us with, the world is a stage and everyone's an actor. Some play their roles poorly, driven by impulse or emotion. Others, the ones who thrive, understand the script. They know when to charm, when to push, and when to step back. You can't opt out of this performance, but you can choose your role. Will you be the one who's swayed by flattery, fear, or false promises? Or will you be the one who sees through the masks, shapes the narrative, and bends the game to your will? Machiavelli's wisdom isn't about becoming heartless. It's about becoming untouchable. Learn to manipulate the currents of power and you'll never be swept away by them. The choice is yours. Stay blind or see the world as it truly is.